The morning sun hadn't yet crested the hills of Liberty Ridge when Daniel Harper, a weathered 47-year-old farmer, stepped onto his porch and froze. Strange men in khaki uniforms were stalking his land, driving stakes into the soil of his prized hilltop, a perfect, elevated plateau where he grew crops that fed his family and fueled his livelihood. No warning, no permission, just the audacity of trespassers claiming what was his. By noon, a woman with a clipboard stood in his driveway, coolly informing him that his land was now the property of the Liberty Ridge Homeowners Association for a community security center. Drones buzzed overhead, their cameras glinting like predatory eyes. Daniel's blood boiled. They thought they could take his heritage without a fight. They didn't know one phone call would unravel their entire scheme. Liberty Ridge, a quiet enclave on the edge of sprawling suburbs, was Daniel's ancestral home. His grandfather had built the family house in 1954, hammering every nail with callous hands. The 3-acre plot, with its fertile hilltop, was more than land, it was a legacy. Daniel, a third-generation steward, tended it with pride, selling his harvest at the local market. The hilltop's unique elevation offered sweeping views of the neighborhood, making it ideal for crops and, as he'd soon learn, something far more sinister. Once a patchwork of farms, Liberty Ridge had gentrified over the years, new homes sprouting like weeds. Yet Daniel kept the old ways alive, serving on community boards and hosting the annual Harvest Festival. His father, a respected figure, had taught him the value of connections, once campaigning alongside County Commissioner Thomas Bradley, a friend who'd shared their table at family barbecues. Trouble brewed when the HOA elected a new president, Cassandra Wells, a 34-year-old tech transplant with a slick resume from a Silicon Valley surveillance firm. She arrived with grand signs of modernizing, Liberty Ridge cameras at every corner, bans on unapproved fences, and vague promises of progress. Most residents shrugged, but Daniel sensed a shift. Last fall, a notice announced a due law 300 quarterly security assessment fee. At the HOA meeting, Cassandra dazzled with jargon. Proactive oversight. Value enhancement, but dodged specifics. Daniel's unease grew when drones began hovering over his hilltop, lingering longer each day. He filmed them, their mechanical hum a violation of his peace, and lodged a complaint. The HOA's response was a canned letter about authorized monitoring, confirming his fears. This was no kid's toy. Then came the surveyors. 2 men, emblazoned with community compliance logos, prowled his hilltop with high-tech gear, muttering about line of sight and optimal elevation. They flashed documents citing easement rights Daniel had supposedly signed years ago. When he demanded answers, the HOA stonewalled, offering a meeting weeks away. His neighbor Carl, a grizzled retiree, warned, "They spent hours on your hill, Dan. Something's off." At the county records office, Daniel found a 1950s clause about common infrastructure. Allowances, legal fine print he'd never noticed. Cassandra, cornered at the market, deflected with a corporate smirk. "We're leveraging community assets for everyone's benefit." Her eyes betrayed a flicker of surprise when he mentioned the hilltop. She knew he was onto her. The bombshell arrived in a certified letter. The HOA was claiming his hilltop under an obscure easement activation for a community infrastructure project. The legalese was dense, but Daniel's friend, Martin, a retired paralegal, decoded it. "They're not borrowing your land, Dan. They're taking it permanently, exploiting a loophole from the subdivision's founding. They're betting you won't fight." Other neighbors received similar notices, but none targeted as much land as Daniel's. He consulted an engineer, who confirmed the hilltop's strategic value. "It's perfect for a surveillance hub, flat for building, high for visibility." They couldn't design a better spot. The HOA had quietly amended its bylaws to include security monitoring facilities, and the drones were no coincidence. They wanted his land for a high-tech control center. Daniel demanded an emergency HOA meeting. The board, led by Cassandra, met him at dawn in a sterile room, flanked by two suited strangers. They unveiled glossy plans for a Liberty Ridge Security Hub, a concrete platform for drone operations, complete with a control building, smack on his hilltop. This will ensure compliance and boost property values, Cassandra purred, citing a 15-fan tram market increase for monitored communities. Daniel snapped. You're spying on us. The board's rehearsed replies. Collective sacrifice. Modern solutions rang hollow. When he refused to sign over his land, Cassandra's tone turned icy. Your mortgage requires HOA compliance, Mr. Harper. Non-compliance risks foreclosure. Outside, he confronted her, rage boiling over. This is my family's land, he roared. She clutched her clipboard, unmoved. Progress doesn't wait, Mr. Harper. Daniel left for his sister's birthday that weekend, desperate for a break. He returned to a nightmare. Construction markers dotted his hilltop, and signs declared it an active construction zone. Monday morning, trucks rolled in, workers unloading concrete. We have county permits, the foreman said, showing papers signed by Commissioner Bradley's office. Daniel called the police, but the officers, after reviewing the documents, apologized. This is a CIVYL matter. Get a lawyer. By dusk, a drone platform stood on his hilltop, 3 sleek machines poised for takeoff. Cassandra arrived, clipboard in hand, as Daniel shouted, How could you do this without my consent? She smirked. We had authorization. He recorded her admitting the rush timeline was meant to squash Resistencia slip that would prove her undoing. Daniel rallied his neighbors. 5 formed the Liberty Ridge Property Alliance, growing to 15 as stories poured in, drones peering into pools, hovering outside bedrooms. They dug into Cassandra's past, been a VP at VisageTech, a facial recognition firm sued for privacy violations. 2 board members had ties to security tech firms, and the HOA had formed Liberty Data Solutions, a shell company for image processing. A Freedom of Information request revealed a contract with Sentinel Surveillance, detailing subject identification and BHA-VY oral analysis. A drone expert confirmed the machines carried facial recognition and thermal imaging tech, capable of peering through windows. The alliance uncovered a deal selling residents' databases, routines, even children's movements to marketing firms. Board members pocketed $250 per hour of usable footage. The hilltop wasn't just a security hub, it was a data mine. The permit for the community kiosk was a lie, misrepresenting the drone base. The signature? Commissioner Thomas Bradley, Daniel's father's old friend. An old photo of them at a barbecue sparked a memory. Relationships matter more than land, his father had said. Daniel's hands shook as he dialed Bradley's direct line, a number from his father's address book. Commissioner, it's Daniel Harper. You've been lied to about Liberty Ridge. He laid out the scheme: fake permits, data harvesting, privacy violations. Bradley was stunned. I approved a kiosk, not a spy base. Daniel emailed EVY Denke, permit discrepancies, drone footage, Cassandra's recorded admission. This is wrong, Bradley growled. I'm stopping it now. Within hours, county vehicles swarmed the hilltop. Inspectors posted stop work orders, and sheriff's deputies grounded the drones. Cassandra arrived, furious, while viewing papers, but Bradley himself stepped in, his voice thunderous. This isn't what I approved, MS. Wells. This permit is void. Her face paled as she realized the tide had turned. News crews descended, and Daniel's ally, reporter Laura Mitchell, broke the story. HOA runs illegal surveillance on residents. The community erupted. Neighbors testified at a packed hearing about drones invading their lives. A privacy expert called it a Fourth Amendment nightmare. The county revoked all permits, launched an HOA oversight re-VYEW, and Bradley apologized publicly for the deception. The HOA board collapsed. Cassandra and her allies were ousted in a landslide election. Daniel, reluctantly, led a new board, rewriting bylaws to ban surveillance and protect property rights. VisageTech faced state and federal probes, its stock tanking. The drone platform was dismantled, and Daniel's hilltop became a community garden, a symbol of unity. A settlement compensated residents for privacy violations, funding shared projects. At the first harvest festival on the restored hilltop, Daniel raised a glass with neighbors, the drones a fading memory. "They thought they could take our freedom," he said, "but one call to the right person proved them wrong." Liberty Ridge stood stronger, a testament to the power of standing firm and knowing who to call when the fight comes home.
If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.